as we sit here right now, we've just gone through all the games. What's the biggest thing you're going to take away from this week in the Big Ten, whether it's something good, something bad, something that changed your mind, something that reinforced what you believed previously? Joshua, I'll start with you. Like, what's your biggest takeaway from a team or a game?
Biggest takeaway, I'm looking forward to seeing Maryland take on Ohio State. Ohio State coming off of a bye after their big win on the road against Notre Dame. I think there are more questions about this Ohio State team than we have had in the past. And a lot of them come on the offensive side because Kyle McCord doesn't look like Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields and CJ Stroud. Maryland, on the other hand, it seems like they've put it together. But these are typically times where they hit conference play and they have looked good in the past and then struggle when they get to some of the big dogs.
That's the biggest question mark right now for Maryland is they've started fast, but then all of a sudden they hit conference play, and that's when the wheels sideways.
Fall off.
Right.
And so for them, I think it's going to be about basically the game plan they've had these last two games is we're protecting the football. We're getting it to our playmakers. We're also going to play a tenacious brand of defense that's going to cause trouble for whoever's on the other side.
And, that's the most intriguing part about next week is because I think you're going to find out about two teams that maybe there are still some question marks, whether it's Ohio State at the quarterback position. But I know for sure you're feeling more confident after the performance that he had last week, Kyle McCord, when you go out in that type of environment on a road game and it's on you to go down and lead them to victory, and he makes a 3rd and 18 throw, he makes the 4th down conversion, and then he gets hit with some he got hit with some adversity, he gets a penalty, still makes a big throw.
Got to come back.
I mean, so he showed that he can come back in those adverse situations, make plays when your team does, and that's got to be a boost of confidence for a young guy, not just for him, for the
everybody
team in its entirety,
yeah.
Because that's the question mark that we don't just have.
Right.
That's what they had too. Like, what's he going to act like when you get into those type of situations? So, and then Maryland, again, it's when the stage gets bigger, right? And when your best is to be expected, can you play at your best? Or is it going to be one of those where you're going, oh man, it's the interception, or
it's the Terps v. Terps.
The Terps v. Terps game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fascinating to watch next week.
All right, so you can't steal Joshua's, though. You just can't be Maryland.
Well,
it can't be your takeaway. What's your big takeaway from
I
this
still
week?
think that there's question marks about just Penn State. And again, I say that after a victory in which they end up beating Northwestern 41-13. But this is a team, again, the expectation is that they want to win the Big Ten, go up against the big dogs, have a seat at the table against the Michigans of the world, against the Ohio States. And they're tracking the right way, right? Their defense is dominant. They're tenacious. They're all those different things. But offensively, there are question marks where it just doesn't seem like they're operating at the same level as some of these other teams are at this point in the season.
My takeaway?
Go ahead.
So last week I was kind of starting to feel Penn State. I was like, I think they have the best defense in the Big Ten. I think they might have the best defense in the country. And they might still be in the top 5 in that conversation. But what I saw from them offensively today, worrying, right? We haven't seen them kick into high gear. And so I think my biggest takeaway is that I think even though Michigan does not have that quality win that Ohio State has against Notre Dame, I think Michigan showed again in the way they won and how dominant it was on the road that they are still the class of the Big Ten.
I agree with that fully. I think they're a really well put together team. They handle business. It's never sexy, but it's always dominant. It's hard to argue with that right now.
That's not even. He's not going to try. You're not even going to try to argue with that.
Well, I mean, there's no argument because again, this is a team that has won the Big Ten the last 2 years in dominant fashion, and right now they've given us no reason to discredit who they are. They've got a ton of returners coming back. They've got their quarterback coming back, their 2 running backs coming back. They've got a dominant defense on the opposite side of the ball. So they're good in all 3 different phases. And again, there's something that goes with in terms of your mentality. When you are the top dog and you believe it and you know it, and you've got most of those same guys coming back, that there's a confidence that goes with that right now you can't argue it.
Yeah.